Hey guys, it's Leah and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today's video, I will be doing a match preview for the Barcelona versus PSG Leg 2 Champions League quarterfinals match that's going to happen tomorrow, so let's get into it. Let's first talk about the first leg, which was the away match for Barcelona, and Barcelona still managed to win the game, leading by 1 goal going into the second leg. The scoreline of the game ended 2-3 in Barca's favor. I feel like that first leg performance from Barcelona was incredible. I think they did everything they needed to do, especially considering that they were playing an away match, which is very difficult, of course, but I think they did well. I think a major strength for them was that PSG were rushing their opportunities. Like, they received a lot of the ball in the first half and they had a lot of chances in the first half to score, but a lot of their opportunities were wasted because they were rushing them. They were either saved, ended up going wide over the bar, or the defense from Barcelona was just doing really well. So a lot of the bigger chances for Barcelona came from counterattacks, which is surprising because usually Barcelona is not the team that's counterattacking. They're usually the team that's trying to prevent the counterattack. But even then, they had, incredible opportunities. It's also important to note how well the defense did in this game for the first half of the match and also for the second half of the match. Even if they conceded 2 goals, there were multiple other opportunities where PSG could have scored, and Barcelona just did really well in timing their challenges and just remained calm. And it was not just the defense, it was the team overall defending like a unit. Now, in the first half of this match, Barcelona went into halftime feeling confident and happy because Rafinha did end up scoring in the 37th minute, which was great. It was a beautiful team goal, and I'm happy that Rafinha was able to get that goal. That being said, Barcelona did concede 2 goals very early on in the second half. Not surprising considering the fact that this has happened to Barcelona multiple times this season where they lose concentration, whether it's in the beginning of the first half or the second half. That being said, even when they were down by 2 goals, Barcelona still did not give up. They did everything they can to get back into that game, which I think shows the strength and the mentality that the team has. Obviously, it's not easy for Barcelona in the Champions League considering, the last few seasons how it hasn't been really going well for them. So it's a huge mental block there for sure. And I think Barcelona definitely handled it well. And I think a big reason why Barcelona was able to get back into the game, aside from their strong mentality, was the fact that Xavi made the right decisions with the substitutions. He planned out the game well. His tactics were really good, which is something very important when you're going up against a manager like Luis Enrique. And in Xavi's case, he made the necessary substitutes that Barcelona needed in order to get back into the game with Pedri and Christensen. Right away, you got Pedri coming in and assisting Rafinha with a lovely pass. And then you got Christensen, whose first touch of the game ended up in a goal with a lovely header. So it was just great to see that Xavi's tactics were right in this game. Now, I did post a match review of this game on my TikTok, so be sure to check it out. It's simply my name, liabinkin. So yeah, you should definitely go check that out. But I did want to talk about, a couple individual players, not really trying to make this a match review, but just talk about the players that definitely stood out in this game. Rafinha, who definitely had a man of the match performance in that game, obviously scoring 2 goals, which was great to see. He produced a lot of great runs. He had a lot of energy and just incredible man of the match performance by him. I also did want to mention Lewandowski because this was probably one of his best performances this season. He didn't score, although he almost did with the great header that was, cleared off the line. But I think he did incredible. I think he's the reason why Rafinha was able to make those runs upward by kind of bringing PSG's defense more towards him and moving more deep into the midfield, which allowed Rafinha to make those runs. And any flick he did contributed to Barcelona's attack. And also, I did want to talk about Koundé, Araujo, and Cubarsí as well that did an incredible job. Koundé and Araujo did very well when it came to blocking Mbappe off, and even Dembele at times. Even if Dembele scored a goal, I think regardless, Araujo and Koundé, of course, still did well. And then obviously, Cubarsí also did an incredible job with Mbappe. Now, in the case of Mbappe, he was on that left-hand side with like Koundé and Araujo blocking him. But then you noticed in the second half that he kind of at times moved more towards the right, and then Cubarsí did a very good job dealing with him as well. Now, I did want to give a shout out to 2 specific PSG players that really stood out to me. Those 2 players are Nuno Mendes and Baracola. I don't think I'm pronouncing their names right. it. I do apologize, guys. I have an American accent. It's just not working out for me. Nuno Mendes, and more in terms of the fact of like what he contributed to PSG in that attack, I think he was definitely more of their like lively player. He had creativity, he had the energy, and was definitely like a big player for PSG in that game. Now, in the case of Baracola, I think when he came as a substitute for Asensio, I'm pretty sure, I think he added a lot of energy to that field and helped PSG produce runs in the second half. So definitely a sub that did end up changing the game for them, of course. Obviously, with them being able to score 2 goals with the substitutions that Luis Enrique made. Now, one more general note about this match before I get into going into the second leg. I think, PSG's defense was really wide at times, and that produced a lot of space for Barcelona. They were kind of all over the place and they weren't as compact, which allowed Barcelona to obviously have more opportunities, especially in the counterattack. And also, even if PSG played with a lot of intensity, Barcelona was able to match it as well. Now, going into the second leg of this match, Barcelona can't be overly confident. I think having a good amount of confidence is fine, but when you're overly confident, that's when you become, a little cocky. That's when you become a little sloppy, and Barcelona simply cannot afford that because nothing was decided yet. They're only leading by 1 goal, and 1 goal is not enough, especially when you consider the fact that PSG's manager is Luis Enrique and he never gives up. He fights until the very end. You also have to consider the fact that Mbappe didn't do well in the first leg, so he's going to really want to step up in the second leg. So that may pose a problem for Barcelona because he's going to feel more motivated. And I feel like in general, going into this, the second leg, PSG have something to fight for, whereas Barcelona are already leading, so it may not motivate them enough, which I really hope they don't look at the second leg that way. I hope they still try and fight. It's also important to note that Hakimi will be back for PSG, so that does pose a threat for Barcelona because Hakimi does add a lot for PSG in terms of defending, in terms of the attack, the pace he has, so something definitely to look towards. Now, Barca fans also have to remember that Christensen is suspended for the second leg due to yellow card accumulation. So that's very frustrating considering the fact that Christensen provides a lot of stability in that midfield and also provides defensive cover as well. And he gives the freedom for Frankie and Gundogan to make those runs in the final third to help out the team. Now, I will say this is the home match for Barcelona, so at least they will have, some of that home advantage with the fans supporting them, of course. But in no way is this going to be easy for Barcelona, and they cannot go into this match thinking that they could defend the full 90 minutes. They simply cannot be doing that. What they have to do is start attacking from the very beginning to get some goals in so that they don't have to stress until like the 90th minute of this game. Because looking into this game, PSG know that they at least have to get a goal in to get back into the game. So they're going to do everything in their power to make sure that happens by picking up their intensity. And Barcelona cannot afford to lower their intensity in this game. Now, with that being said, let's get into my starting 11 for this match. Starting off in the goal with obviously Ter Stegen. Now, for the defense, I got Koundé as the right back, Cancelo as the left back, and Araujo and Kubarse as the 2 center backs. You got to stick with what works, and that defensive lineup always works or has worked this season. Now, in regards to that midfield, you definitely have to start Gundogan because he creates multiple chances. I would say you have to play Frankie maybe in that pivot role because Christensen is not, obviously going to play because of his, suspension. And then Pedri has to play as well. And I feel like that midfield will provide a lot of stability, hopefully, for Barcelona. In regards to the forwards, I would have Lewandowski as the striker, Lamine Yamal as the right wing, and then have Rafinha as the left wing because he works hard and he allows Barcelona to play more direct football with the runs he makes. My prediction for this game is a 2-1 win for Barcelona, and hopefully that's the way it goes so Barcelona could advance to the semifinals. Anyways, guys, that is the end of today's video. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to also comment your prediction for this game, and also make sure that you follow all my socials, which will be in the description box, my X account, my TikTok, and obviously my Instagram as well. And like always, I will be posting a match review of this game on my TikTok, so be sure to follow that to go see the match review after the game is over. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy the video. Bye, guys.